Everybody, good morning or good afternoon, depending on wherever you are. Hopefully you can all see and hear me and see my screen. Thanks for joining the webinar today. This is all about the new security and efficiency enhancements that we've made recently to NetBox Cloud. And this is really the culmination of a few months of work, really. We've had lots of updates coming out over the last few months to the NetBox Cloud platform. And we got to a point where we thought, it'd be a good time to put these together and share them more widely with the community at large. And this is the point of this webinar. So my name is Rich Bibby. I'm a technical advocate here at NetBox Labs, and I'm very happy to be joined by Richard Boucher over in Quebec City in Canada today, or this morning as it is for him now. Richard is our product manager here at NetBox Labs. Richard, you just want to say a quick hello?
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. I'm just going to post in the chat session now that if you have any questions as Rich is going through the content, feel free to post them there, and I'll answer them as best I can throughout.
Cool, thanks, Richard. So yeah, as Richard said, if any questions come to mind as we go through, post them into the chat. That would be great. Richard can either deal with them as we're going along, or we'll save them up to the end and have a Q&A session. We'll leave plenty of time for that, hopefully. But without further ado, we'll make a start then, because we have got quite a bit of content that we'd like to share with you. So the first part of the webinar is going to be a little bit about NetBox Labs, just briefly who we are, and also the different types of offerings that there are of NetBox these days, because there are quite a few. We'll also introduce the NetBox Cloud Admin console, which is really the focal point of this webinar. And then we'll show you how to sort of navigate around that, and then how to use that and how to interact with it. The second part of it, we'll start to look at the security features that we've added recently. So things like how to secure access to your NetBox Cloud instance with the prefix list. We have MTLS and dedicated IP addresses for even more layers of security. We also have two-factor authentication for the admin console, and I'll run through some of the SSO options that we've got for NetBox Cloud. As we're going through this, I'll demo particularly the prefix lists. I'll demo how we do that. Then in part 3, we'll move on to what we're classing as convenience features, really. So things like database backups and restore. So I'll demo how to do that as well. And then we'll have a look at some custom connectivity options, because sometimes the standard delivery method for the NetBox Cloud platform over the internet, sometimes people need more than that. So we've got a few options that we've put together. You could probably consider them as design patterns that are available should they be required if you have custom connectivity options. So we'll run through those. We'll also have a quick look at plugins and the host names manager functionality, both of which the functionality in the admin console is limited slightly at the moment, but we're constantly under development, so there's new functionality being added all the time. And then finally, we'll have a look at the NetBox Labs Resource Center, which you will notice if you're using your NetBox Cloud instance, it's there to help you. So first of all, a little bit about NetBox Labs. So NetBox Labs was founded in 2023 in New York. We are the commercial steward of the NetBox open source project. We have a world-class team that first of all built and led NS1, which is a company you may be familiar with, and also founded the NetBox project. So if people are aware of Jeremy Stretch, the founder of NetBox, obviously he's one of the founders here at NetBox Labs as well. And we have now world-class investors and world-class customers in the short time that we have been around. And we like to think that we make it easier to build and manage complex networks. If you're not familiar with NetBox, I would imagine most people on this call are familiar with NetBox, but just in case you aren't, it is the world's most popular network source of truth. What we mean by a network source of truth is it is the intended state. So it's everything to do with your network infrastructure, and it's how you as the architects and network engineers intend the state of your network to be. With that, you can model everything from A to V, actually, so from ASNs through to VPNs and everything in between. It's API and integration first, which means that all sorts of other tools can integrate seamlessly with NetBox. We're not going to go into that on this call, because it's about the cloud platform. But obviously, you've got things like the REST API interface, you've got GraphQL interface. These are interfaces that other systems can interact with NetBox via and extract data and make changes to data within the NetBox database. And things like event streams and webhooks are ways of getting data out of NetBox. So with event streams, you might have something that listens to events that drop onto an event bus, and then actions can then be taken on those. And you've also got webhooks as well. So you could have some action taking place at the addition of something, for example, in NetBox, triggers a webhook to another system. So it's highly, it's super easy to integrate NetBox with other systems. Hugely extensible as well. So things like plugins, device types, custom scripts, custom fields. And we're going to have a look at a way of extending NetBox shortly using tags. So it's hugely extensible. If the comprehensive data model that you already have in NetBox doesn't quite do what you need it to do, the point here is that you can easily extend it. And there's an enormous system of other tools that work seamlessly with NetBox. So which NetBox is right for you? Now, obviously, we have the NetBox open source or community edition, if you like, of NetBox. It's been around for a long time. That is the most widely used network source of truth by far, a huge ecosystem for products and the community around that as well. We have NetBox Enterprise in the middle, which would be classed as self-managed. So if you're running your own NetBox install on premise, but you deployed it on your own infrastructure, but you want some enterprise class features that you don't get with the open source version, you want to integrate it seamlessly into your IT stack, and you want the support of NetBox experts, then maybe NetBox Enterprise is for you. But this webinar today is focusing on NetBox Cloud, which is the fully managed version of NetBox. So it has all the capabilities of open source and enterprise. It's the SaaS edition of NetBox, and it's fully hosted on our own rock solid platform that is secure, scalable, and so on. Everything really you would expect from a enterprise class software as a service product. Now, we have a few, we have a couple of NetBox plans, or a few options really. One of which was the free plan, which we launched, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago now, very, very new. So this is the free plan for NetBox Cloud. It is perfect for small networks and lab environments and maybe some targeted use cases. So you can see there's some limitations there. It's 100 devices, 500 IP addresses, and 10,000 API requests per month. But you can actually do pay as you go onto this as well. So you can, if you go over those limits slightly, you can do pay as you go. It eliminates all of that operational burden of running NetBox yourself. You can get started instantly, just within, a few clicks, 60 seconds or so, you'd have a NetBox Cloud instance up and running. And you've got all basically, a lot of the benefits of the full-blown NetBox Cloud, and that is available now. Obviously, we have the paid plans as well, which are really, production scale. Fully supported and with a host of enterprise grade features and benefits as well. There are plans for every size of network, starting at 2,000 devices, and above. And with the paid plans, obviously, you've got a huge array of security and convenience features that we're going to go through now. They're tuned for reliability and performance. We've got dozens of certified now NetBox Labs plugins as well available with the paid plans, and there are lots of advanced features that you won't get with the free plan, obviously, including 24/7 support. And some really nice things like the the integrations with ServiceNow and some network discovery tools as well. So just to give you an idea that there are different paid plans, and there is also the free plan if you're looking for like maybe a targeted use case or just to get started and try it out. Okay, so first of all, the first bit of the demo is the NetBox Cloud Admin console. So just bear with me a second, and I will switch to this browser window. Hopefully you can see that now. And basically, console.netboxlabs is where you go to log into the admin console. And now I'm just going to sign in using my email address, and I'm very quickly into the dashboard. And I've got a couple of organizations that I can actually see with my user account. So this is what you would typically see. You would see the organizations that you are an administrator for when you log into the cloud admin console. Now, just to show you around quickly, what you can do, and actually, in actual fact, there is another way to get to the console, and I'll show you that as well. So if we just go into one of our NetBox Cloud instances, and I'll just grab the admin password from here, and I'll just launch this instance. And if I just log in, and then we'll log into this instance. Now, what you can see with this NetBox Cloud instance, if we look at the NetBox Labs menu item in the bottom left here, I can click on Open Console. If I don't have access to the console, I can request it via this link, but I can click on Open Console, and that just takes me straight into the admin console as well. So you can see how we are. There's a couple of different ways, either directly or via your NetBox Cloud instance that you're in. So let me just close that window. So just to give you a quick tour of this, really, if we go into settings, the settings are these settings apply to the organization. So you could have, like I've got here, you could see I've got multiple instances of NetBox, but these settings are applying at the organizational level. So you've got your administrators. You've also got something called Secrets Manager, which I'd keep your eyes peeled for more announcements on Secrets Manager. It's here, we're working on it in the background, but it's not fully functional yet. But ultimately, you will be able to store secrets. Think of this as a vault of secrets that you could then use in things like custom scripts, for example, within NetBox. So this is something that's under development, not fully functional yet, but it's coming soon. The Hostnames Manager, this is where you would actually manage your host names for your different NetBox Cloud instances. As you can see here, it says contact support to add a custom host name, and we'll come back to this at the end. But yeah, basically, this is where at the minute you can view the host names that you've got associated with your NetBox Cloud instances. But there's new functionality coming along later on, which will allow you to actually add new host names or create new host names from within here. So that's the host name manager. And then prefix lists is where we manage prefixes. And this is where you can protect your NetBox Cloud instance with a prefix list. Think of it as an access control list. Now, I'll show you how we do that further on in the demo a little bit further on. Now, just quickly as well, you might not be aware, but you can check the service status of NetBox Labs platform. So you can see the Cloud Console is up, all the cloud instances are operational, and we've also got some monitoring in place there for Orb, which is another tool that we have in our portfolio. So you can get to all that from within there. If you want to raise a support ticket, you can click here and it will open up a mail to support. And you've got the documentation link as well. So we'll give you a link in the slides, obviously, to this as well, because this is where you'll find guides or how-to guides on everything that we're going to cover in this particular session as well. So it's a really useful reference if you are looking to find out how to do something with the NetBox Cloud Platform. Okay, so let's just pop back to the slideshow. So that's our quick introduction to the NetBox Cloud Admin console. Now, moving on to securing your NetBox Cloud instances with prefix lists. With prefix lists, you can create, edit, and delete prefix lists. They can be synchronized with a NetBox instance, and I'll show you how we do that. So you could have prefixes that you've actually got in your NetBox instance. You can tag them, and then you can synchronize those prefixes with the admin console to build your prefix. So you don't actually, if you're managing large lists, and in fact, we do have large list support for prefixes. I think it's up to 15,000 prefixes that we support. They are only that you couldn't enter 15,000 manually, but you can certainly synchronize those with with your NetBox instance to build your prefix lists. And these can be interface specific prefix lists as well. So for example, you can have a separate prefix list for API access and a separate prefix list for UI access. Or even GraphQL access as well. You could have, three different prefix lists and apply those to different interfaces for NetBox Cloud. So just to go back to the demo, bear with me. So in our console here, then, first of all, what I'm going to do, if I go to prefix list, and again, we're operating here at the organizational level, so not an individual NetBox instance. But if I go and click on Create Prefix List, and then we're going to call this UI access. And what we'll do is we'll just give it that name, UI access. Now, I have the option here to synchronize from a NetBox, but I'm going to say no in this case, and I'll just click Create Prefix List. Now, if you want to, you can just click here and it will use the current IP address. So a nice little feature to save you looking up the IP address that you're connecting from. But what I'm going to do is add a couple of prefixes, one an IPv4 prefix, and we're going to call that our Madrid office. And we will create that prefix. And actually what I'll do is now that I could have done it from within there, but I'll show you how to add a new prefix list or a new prefix into that existing one, we'll click create prefix in that list again, and we'll paste in another one, which is an IPv6 prefix, and this is going to be for our Mexico City data center. So we'll create that, and we've added now that we've got two prefixes here that we've added to this prefix list called UI access, and you can see that that isn't synchronized with a NetBox instance. But what we will do is create now another one that is actually synchronized with our NetBox instance. So I'm going to do create prefix list, and we'll give this one a name, and we'll call this one API access. So bear with me a second. And as I say, we'll synchronize this with a NetBox instance. So I'm going to synchronize this with my webinar NetBox instance, and we're going to synchronize it with a tag. So we'll call the tag API access. And I'm going to click on create prefix list. Okay, so now we have this prefix list, but you'll notice there aren't any prefixes in it yet because it will take a few minutes to synchronize with NetBox. And actually, in our NetBox instance, if I go to it, and then I'm going to launch our NetBox instance, and let me just get the credentials for it. So I get the credentials from here again. I'm going to click launch. We're already logged in because we didn't log out last time. But what we do first of all to create the tags that we're going to synchronize with, we go to customization within NetBox and click on tags. You can see we've got a couple of tags already, but we're just going to add another one now, and we're going to call this API access, and we will just make this one indigo and click create. Now we will go back to IPAM and then prefixes, and I'm going to add a couple of prefixes now. So first one I'm going to add is an IPv4 prefix, and this will be our Hong Kong office. So let me just put that in the description. Whoops. Paste that into the right place, and we are going to tag this with API access. Okay, now, so that's our prefix list added, and sorry, that's our one prefix added. I'm going to create another one. Oh no, I'm not actually. No, I'm not. I won't do it. I'll just create one IPv4 prefix, and we'll leave it at that. So if I go to prefixes now, you can see that we have an IPv4 prefix that we just entered, and it's got the tag of API access, and description is the Hong Kong office. So that's how we actually create the prefix list. Now, it does take a few minutes. Like I said, if we go to our settings and then prefix lists, and then if I check that API access list, yeah, there aren't any prefixes in there yet, but they will synchronize. It can take up to about 10 minutes. So what you can see here is you can just literally maintain your prefix lists in NetBox, which is really handy because you don't need to maintain them in two different places. You just maintain them in NetBox. You set it to synchronize with the NetBox Cloud Admin console, and then they will automatically get updated. So you remove it, you remove a prefix and remove the tag from NetBox. It will then be removed from the access control list. Now, we've actually created our prefixes here. At the moment, what you would need to do to apply those prefix lists to your NetBox Cloud instance is contact support. So you just email us and say, we've created a new prefix list, and I'd like it to be assigned to this particular NetBox Cloud instance, and we can do that for you. So there's a little step there that we need to just do for you at the minute, but coming very soon, you'll be able to do all of that yourself within the NetBox Cloud Admin console. Okay, now obviously you can do things like, you've seen that we've maintained a prefix list by adding one, but you can also, obviously you can delete entries. So we'll delete that prefix from a prefix list from within here. And you can also delete the entire prefix list as well from within here. So very simple to use within the admin console. Okay, so let me just flip back to the slide deck. And now there's a couple of things I just wanted to mention. I can't demo these actually at the minute. Well, I can't demo them because you'd have to request these are set up for you. But just to make you aware, there are some extra security features that you can enable. So you can add even more security by using MTLS and dedicated IP addresses. So mutual TLS, is an advanced connection security for enterprise use cases. ensuring that that clients connect, both the clients that connect to NetBox present a valid security certificate. So it adds an even more, so even more security to your connection to the NetBox Cloud instance. We can do that for you, and you can also have dedicated IP addresses. Obviously, these features are dependent on which pricing plan of NetBox Cloud that you're on, and we can get into some of those questions at the end as we go through. But these features are available. Okay, so and what we mean by a dedicated IP address is that you could have a fixed IP address that doesn't change on the platform to access it, and that then adds another layer of security because you can protect that as well and only configure access to those IP addresses, for example. Okay, so moving on then, we've got the next feature I'd like to cover is database backup and restore. So with this feature, you can do things like you can view all the available database backups that you have. Depending on your plan, your databases are backed up frequently on a regular schedule, and the frequency will depend on the plan that you're actually on. But backups are taken automatically, so you don't need to worry about that. You can actually take an on-demand backup as well, very simply. I'll show you how to do that in a second. So that would be a case of, let's say you're about to make some big changes to your NetBox database and you wanted to take a backup of that of the database in its state before you make all those changes. You just click backup now and that's done for you. You can download the backup files as well, so you could store them locally yourself if you wish. You could then use them in another NetBox instance. So say you have your own on-prem instance of NetBox that you want to replicate that data to. You can easily download the SQL dump and import it into another NetBox instance, and you can restore to another NetBox Cloud instance. So we have the ability to restore, let's say you had a production and a staging environment for NetBox Cloud, and you wanted to restore the production database to your staging database. We can either do that on a scheduled basis for you. That could be weekly, I think on a Monday, or it could be daily, depending on how often you want that to happen. We can set that up for you. And in some cases, we can do ad hoc manual restores to other NetBox Cloud instances as well for you. So let me just show you how we do this. Flip back to my console. So the one we've got for today's webinar, if I go into in fact, I'm just going to go back one level, just so maybe if this wasn't clear from the start, when you log into the organization, as well as the settings on the side, obviously you can see all the different NetBox Cloud instances that you have. I've got 4 different cloud instances here. You can see they're running in different regions in the cloud. Now, if I want to manage a particular one, like this one for the webinar, I can just click on the 3 dots there and click manage, and then I can drill down into the instance itself. Now, for backup and restore, you can see, for example, here on this plan, the backups take place every 6 hours. That will differ depending on which plan you're on. So what I'd like to show you is how you can back up now. Now, I'll click backup now, and that's literally all it is. So it's like, are you sure you want to back up the current version of NetBox? We click continue. That will happen in the background. It has to prepare the backup. Takes a couple of minutes for that to appear. But once that's ready, it will appear like this instance. And I'm just going to zoom in slightly. It will appear like this instance of a backup, which is called on demand. So you can see it's different from a scheduled backup because it was just taken on demand when we clicked backup now. If you've restored any versions of the database, you can click on restore history, and you can see the history basically of any restores that you've made of the databases. So that's always handy to know as well. Now, if you want to download a copy of your backup, you can click that. You can simply click on download a copy. Now you can see that it's preparing this download, and that will take a few minutes as well. But ultimately, what you end up with, if I can go back into my downloads directory, I'll just drag this on here. What you'll end up with ultimately, sorry, one second. I'm just going to drag my downloads directory on here. So what you then end up with ultimately is a compressed archive of your database. Comes down with a lovely complicated file name, but you can just rename that to whatever you'd like. Okay, now we'll just go back to our instance. and we can see where we're up to. It'll take a couple of minutes, as I say. We might see that pop down in the downloads when it's ready. But if we want to, then so that's how we download. That's how we take a backup now. Now, if you want to restore one, you simply just click on restore. So let's say, for example, we wanted to store the database, this version of the database from a few hours ago. You just click restore. It gives you that nice message about this operation cannot be undone. Would you like to continue? And yep, we'll click on continue. Now that's just logged me out of the console. Let me just log back in. So yeah, let me just get back into the right instance. So you can see, yep. So that's how you manage your database backup. So very, very easy to do. Lots of great functionality in there. Lots of our customers make use of this. And as I say, we do have the ability to automatically restore instances for you if you've got multiple, databases, if you've got multiple instances of NetBox Cloud running as well. So nice and easy. Okay, let me just go back to the slide deck. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about was how we streamlined NetBox Cloud upgrades using the Safe Upgrade tool. So depending on the plan that you're on, and in fact, most of the plans will actually automatically upgrade your version of NetBox Cloud for you. So you don't need to worry about it. So you're pretty much always going to be on the latest version of NetBox Cloud. Now, there might be cases where you don't want that. So you want either extended support on a particular version of NetBox Cloud, or pretty much, or you just want to stay on a particular version because you're not quite ready yet. You need to run tests on it, perhaps in a dev instance before you're actually ready to upgrade. So that option is available. And if you go for that option, then you can always upgrade NetBox Cloud yourself from within the admin console, which is super easy to do. It automates the whole process for you. It gives you recommendations and warnings, like, for example, if you have plugins that aren't compatible with the target version of NetBox that you want to get to, it will warn you and it won't let you do that. So it wouldn't let you, break your NetBox install inadvertently. It's like think of it as sort of guardrails to protect your NetBox Cloud instance. So nice and easy to do, and it's a seamless upgrade experience. It literally just takes a few minutes. So if I flip back to the Cloud Admin console, what I'm going to do now on this particular NetBox instance, I created a new instance earlier on just for this demo. So what we've got is, if I look at this particular version, we're running 369. So that's quite an older version now. Now, obviously, because of the plugins that we have, we need to be careful. Let me just refresh this. We need to be careful, obviously be mindful that we have plugins installed, but the Safe Upgrade tool will actually take care of all that for us. Now, if we have a look at here, there would be different versions of NetBox if we, if there were, different versions available. The only version that's available to us now, because we're on 369, is actually version 378, which takes you to, the last version of the next train up of NetBox. So we can go to 378 here. That's actually been recommended. If there were other versions we could get to, they would be listed here, but they might not be recommended. And what you can see here as well is because we've got the two plugins installed, we've got BGP and the topology views plugin. Both of these plugins need to be upgraded as well to be compatible with version 378. Now, the upgrade process will actually take care of all of that for us. So if we select that version 378 and then click on upgrade version 369, again, obviously you get the warning that this operation cannot be done, but that's all fine. So what we'll do is we'll click continue. Now, this will take a few minutes, so we might come back to it if we get time at the end. But obviously that is all you need to do. So there's nothing else to worry about there. That would seamlessly upgrade your version of NetBox Cloud from 369 to 378. And it takes care of any plugins as well, so you don't have to worry about that. And there we go. So it will take a few minutes. Things need to restart and things like that. But yep, that's all there is to it. So nice and simple. So that's the Safe Upgrade tool. Now, a couple of other features I want to run through. I'm not going to demonstrate these, but I'll explain what they are and the fact that they're available. So if you need to set up two-factor authentication to access the admin console, then you can do this very easily. You just click on the top right corner by your username, and then set up two-factor, or click on set up two-factor. What this will do is it will then present you with like a QR code that you could scan with your Google Authenticator or whatever authentication app you're using. And then the next time you log into NetBox Cloud, you'll be prompted for the code or the token that's produced on your auth tool. So yeah, very easy to do, and it's very easy to disable as well. You just click on disable once it's been enabled, so you can do that in a couple of clicks. So yeah, nice convenient feature. Just adds another layer of security to the NetBox Cloud platform as well. Now, one thing we do have, obviously, with a lot of, I mean, this is fairly standard stuff for any enterprise grade solution. Would be to have options for single sign-on, and obviously we have these with NetBox Cloud as well. That kind of goes without saying. So we've got there are some common SSO integrations that are available across all of our paid plans. So we've got Microsoft Azure AD, we've got Okta, and we've got Google. Coming soon, we will also have AWS Cognito, and you can see Azure AD, for example, uses OAuth 2. Google, we offer OAuth 2 and OpenID integrations. So there's lots of options there for setting up these common SSO integrations that are available across all plans. We do have some more advanced options as well. So there's advanced SSO and group mapping that gives you even more control. So group mapping, for example, is if you have groups in your Azure AD or your Okta systems, and you want to map those to groups in NetBox that give people certain permissions within NetBox Cloud, you can very easily do that. You just work with us on the support team, and we'll set that up for you. Very simple to do. There are SAML-based SAML-based options for SSO as well, so you can talk to us about that, and we'll work with you to set that up. And also, if you're using Okta and you use something called an authorization server with that, then that is available as well. We can accommodate that, and we're happy to work with you to set that up. So basically, lots of options. Without diving into them in detail, we don't have time on this webinar, but lots of options for SSO. Now, moving on to custom connectivity. As I mentioned, sometimes the standard internet delivery for NetBox Cloud, and this is what you're looking at here. This is a diagram of what that actually looks like. Sometimes that might not be enough for you. You may have requirements within your organization for different connectivity that we class as custom connectivity. Now, we're happy to work with you on this as well. Depends on the plan that you're with on NetBox Cloud, but we're obviously happy to work with you, get you on the right plan, and come up with the right custom connectivity solution. This is the standard one. So if you don't have any custom connectivity, this is what you get out of the box, if you like. It's the standard product offering. Comes with TLS security, and you can use IP allow lists. And as I said, the IP allow list could be for your UI, your API, and the GraphQL interface. And you can synchronize, as I've demonstrated, from a NetBox tag as well. So that's the very simple sort of basic internet delivery, if you like. Now, a step up from that would be to use AWS Private Link. So this would be where you as the customer have your own AWS account, and it connects over AWS Private Link to the NetBox Labs hosting account in AWS. And then NetBox is actually delivered over that private link. So that's how you would connect to it. The VPC endpoints would be on private IP addresses. It's very fast for us to actually turn up this service. So you don't have to wait long for it. And if you wanted to, we can optionally disable that internet access that you would have had for the basic setup. We could turn that off so that your only option to connect to NetBox Cloud is via AWS Private Link. And that's obviously in single region. The next option we have is an IPsec VPN tunnel. Again, single region. So delivery over an IPsec tunnel, you could have dual or single tunnel options, static route or BGP. We prefer BGP, and you can assign as the customer /25 or 24 for the VPC. So you can see that quite simply there you could have an IPsec VPN configured over the internet that connects to us in AWS. So that's another option for you. Another option further on than this is actually AWS Direct Connect in a single region. So this could be available via hosted connections that you can get from like the likes of BT, Optus, Zayo, all these providers that do direct connections for you. You can have the VLAN handoff with BGP, and you could also do single or dual direct connects depending on your requirements. And again, customer assigned prefixes for the VPC. And the next option we have is, and this is the last option that we have actually, is AWS Direct Connect with multi-region failover. So if you needed to have dual NetBox instances and wanted to have the ability to fail over between those connections and also have the redundancy of the two the dual NetBoxes as well that are replicated, then obviously this is kind of like a belts and braces. I think this covers pretty much everything that you could ever want in terms of security and connectivity and high availability. So this is there as definitely as an option for you as well. So if this is something, appreciate this is there's a lot of detail here. If this is something you want to get into with us and talk about, then obviously we're more than happy to do that, and we can have a discussion with you, work out what your requirements actually are in terms of custom connectivity, and work with you to come up with the best solution for you. But it just gives you an idea that these options are available if the standard internet delivery doesn't suit you. Okay, plugins. I showed you these briefly when I gave you the quick tour of the admin console. So plugins at the minute, you can view plugins that you have installed, and you can see their scope, whether it's public or it's a plugin that is actually scoped to your organization. So it could be a custom plugin that you developed. So in terms of managing these plugins, that's limited at the minute within the admin console, but there's new functions. Excuse me. There's new functionality coming very soon, where you'll actually be able to add plugins from within, from within the admin console. Excuse me, I'll just take a drink. Okay, so one other thing to mention as well is we recently launched some certified plugins, and these are available via the community plugin catalog as well. So there's a handy link if you want to check out the most popular plugins that are featured there in the community plugin catalog. The hostname manager as well was a feature we touched on briefly. Again, more functionality is coming soon in the admin console with regards to hostnames. At the minute, you can view and manage the hostnames that you have in there. As it says there, in the screenshot, you would need to contact support to add a custom hostname. But you can certainly see the hostnames that you have and which NetBox they are actually assigned to. So you can view that within the admin console. And there are different categories of host names. Like, for example, there are a few there that are platform random, which is just when we spin up a new NetBox Cloud instance, it will generate a random host name. Or there's a platform custom option as well. And obviously, if you want to add a custom host name, then you would need to reach out to support@netboxlabs.com, and we'll be happy to add that custom host name for you. Should you be on the right plan, obviously, that has that functionality available. Okay, and the last thing we're going to get to actually is a brand new feature called the NetBox Labs Resource Center. So this is AI powered, and it's an in-app tool that boosts efficiency by giving you direct access to lots of curated resources within NetBox Cloud. So you don't actually leave NetBox Cloud to get access to these resources. So you can find resources to answer your specific questions quickly and easily. So probably the best thing to do with this is actually give you a demo of it. And so bear with me a second. Let's just flip back to our NetBox Cloud instance. Maybe I'll zoom in again slightly, but I'll just go to the home page. Now, what you're looking out for is in the bottom right corner, you can see the logo for the AI assistant. I think it looks like a textbook. If you click on that, that will launch the resource center. Now, obviously, there are a bunch of resources in here, things like the NetBox console documentation site, then the official NetBox documentation site, the device type library. You've got then community resources as well, like the Slack, GitHub discussions, and Reddit. Now, we've got some content that is appearing at the top here, like become a NetBox hero. So this takes you to the Zero to Hero training course for NetBox. So that's a great resource. And you've got this other link here is to a GitHub repo that's full of tutorials and webinars featuring NetBox, and that's all in the GitHub repo for NetBox Learning. So those are the top two resources. You can see then there's a bunch of other resources that we've linked to that you can scroll down and access very easily. Now, the great thing about this as well is that if you've got a specific question, like for example, how do I add devices? This is one that it's pre-populated, but if you select that, what it will do is it will actually it will give you step-by-step instructions to how to add devices, and depending on where you are within NetBox, it will actually take you to that specific resource as well. Now, let's just see if let's ask it another question about how do we add users. And we'll see where we get back here now. Hopefully this will let me just be a bit more specific. How do I add a user? Okay, so we've got create a user, and what this does now, this will actually take you straight to the right part of NetBox actually, and take you right to the right place. It's under the admin section and users, and it's taking you directly there. So you can just dive straight in. So it will intelligently navigate you around NetBox as well, depending on what you're asking it to do. And then obviously you can ask it a whole bunch of questions. Let's see, another one might be, how do I model NAT? So let's model NAT, and we'll ask, here we go, and it takes you to modeling network address translation, which is a video on our YouTube channel, which you can play directly within the NetBox instance and the interface actually. So that would play that directly for you. You don't have to leave your NetBox Cloud instance, and it takes you straight to that resource. So with this resource center, you have a ton of knowledge at your fingertips. That means you don't have to leave NetBox, the application at all, to find exactly what you're looking for. So look out for that in your NetBox Cloud instances. As I say, it should appear there for you in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, so let me just see where we're up to in the slide deck. Okay, I think we're now on, Richard, the Q&A section. So have we had any questions that have come in as we've gone along there?
Nope, no questions have popped up. So
Okay.
maybe we can open it up to the group and see if they have any questions live.
Absolutely. If anyone has a question, you can either raise your hand or chat, and we can see. Oh, hold on. Yep. Feel free, if you have any questions, pop them in there. What I'll do is I'll flick on to the next slide. So in terms of next steps and extra resources, just want to keep it simple, really. If you were interested in the NetBox Cloud free plan, then obviously go to netboxlabs.com/free-netbox-cloud, and you can get started very, very quickly there with a NetBox Cloud free plan. And if you want to have a look at the full documentation site that covers everything that we've covered today, so things like how to do safe upgrades, how to work with prefix lists, that we have videos, so video tutorials and full documentation for each of those features as well. So, feel free to take a look at those resources. Okay, so I don't think we've got any questions come in there, Richard. So unless anyone wants to speak now, I think we will wrap it up. So I think all that leaves is to thank everybody for joining. Thank you, Richard, for being there to handle questions. And thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time.